Welcome, you are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 9, National Football League, Saints at the Jets. Big game for both teams. This is the Ryan Bowl, as both Rex and Rob Ryan square off against each other. Two defensive-minded coaches, one a coordinator for the Saints, and Rob Ryan, the other, the head coach of the New York Jets, going against each other for the 5th time. Rex getting the best of Rob each and every single time these two have squared off. So this was going to be an interesting match between those two defensive-minded coaches. But this was a game that had a lot of implications for both teams involved. You look at the Saints coming into this game 6-1, and you don't want to feel like you have a lot of pressure on you to win this game. Even though Carolina is starting to play better football, you still got a little bit of a cushion in the division, but that's the type of thinking that can get you caught from behind and see you looking up at the standings at Carolina. And so you want to go in with the aggressive mindset and approach that, hey, we need every single game we can get. We want to win on the road. We want to prove that we can win not only in the dome, in the comfy confines of the Superdome, but we can go outside in the elements and win on the road as well. You've lost on the road against the Patriots your last time out on the road. Now you're back on the road against the Jets. Time for you to take care of some business in this AFC East. You've got to find a way to win games outside in the elements and show teams around the league that, hey, we can play it inside or outside. However you want it, we can give it to you. If you're the Jets, you're not in the same predicament or the same type of situation as the Saints. Hey, they're at the top of their division. They're looking down at everybody else. They've got a little bit of house money to play with. You, on the other hand, you scratch, you claw for everything you can get. You're 4-4 in the season. Win one, lose one. And you were absolutely blown out of the stadium, blown to smithereens last week in Cincinnati. And so got a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth, looking to come home and rectify some of the problems you had a week ago that saw you lose 49-9 at Cincinnati. So this is a Jets team that's very scary because they do the one thing that will give them a chance to win most Sundays, and that's play defense. And when they're at home, they're a dangerous team. When they're on the road, they can be had. Geno Smith is going to make some mistakes. This defense can start to fall into a little bit of a trap because the offense isn't getting it done and they're turning it over and the other team is getting good field position. This defense starts to fall into a rut. But when they're at home, crowd gets involved. Defense feeds off of that energy. Offense doesn't have to do as much. And so the defense is able to keep them in the game or make some plays to give them a lead. Different team. So at home, the Jets are dangerous. This was a game that they felt like they could win. Let's talk about the 4-4 New York Jets hosting the 6-1 New Orleans Saints. So here's a matchup of really good offense versus really good defense. Who would win out in this football game? Penalty-riddled opening drive yields field goal attempt for the Saints, but Garrett Hartley couldn't connect, and the Saints come away with nothing. And this is the second week in a row that I'm starting to see a trend with this Saints team in penalties. Now, granted, anytime you're in a game with the New York Jets, it's contagious. The Jets are a very undisciplined team. They're going to have a lot of penalties in every game that they play. You got to stay away from that. But it seems like when teams play against the Jets, they fall into that trap of starting to commit errors of their own. It just seems like it's like a cold. They got it, so you get it too. It's very contagious. But for the Saints, this is the second week in a row. Coming off the bye week last week against Buffalo, you had some issues with some penalties. Some your fault, some your own doing, some not. The league went and apologized and said, hey, we made some mistakes. That shouldn't have been a penalty on Drew Brees for those false starts. But it doesn't matter. They were called in the game. And in this game, more penalties to start the game. And I don't know if something was going on in the headset of Drew Brees. He wasn't getting to play fast enough, what the deal was. But some delay of games, some illegal shifts, just a lot of unforced errors on the part of this Saints team early in this game. They still found a way to get in the field goal range, but Garrett Hartley, because of those field goals, or excuse me, because of those penalties, was pushed back a little bit, made this a longer attempt than it probably needed to be. He missed the field goal. So you come away with nothing on that opening drive. And if you're the Saints, you need to score points. Again, this is a really good Jets defense. Points are going to come at a premium. You got a chance to get some points up on the board. Got to take advantage of it if you are the New Orleans Saints. So, tip drill interception initiated by DeJuan Landry, completed by Demario Davis, leads to Nick Folk field goal after a nice Chris Ivory run. And you know, Chris Ivory really wanted to stick it to the Saints because he felt like he was wronged in that situation. Now, he was given an opportunity by the Jets. Saints were willing to trade him, but they just wanted to get something in return for Chris Ivory. They weren't using him. And he got a raw deal in New Orleans. And so he really wanted to show them, hey, this is what you guys are missing. This is what you could have had if you would have held on to me. 3-0 New York Jets. So Jimmy Graham, 51-yard TD grab, 7-3 New Orleans Saints. And what more can we say about Jimmy, man? Jimmy is the man. And he's playing on a bum ankle, and it doesn't matter. Jimmy's still running by guys. Jimmy's still separating. He's still going up and dunking it out the touchdowns. Jimmy is the man. And so Jimmy the man Graham is what I'm going to start calling him, because Jimmy is the man. And so we went from the man to a guy that I'm waiting to turn into something. And that's Neptune. Only on Neptune. Mega drop by Nick Toon. I'm waiting. I don't know about you. Let me ask you, Saint fans, because I don't know about you. How do you feel about Nick Toon? Because frankly, I'm starting to become very perturbed. I'm starting to become annoyed by Nick Toon. Okay, last year he doesn't play because of an injury. He's on IR. He comes out this year and he's not making plays. He's dropping the football, lapses in concentration. I don't know about you. I'm starting to become impatient with Nick Toon, especially with Kenny Stills coming in and having an immediate impact. Nick Toon needs to step up. I don't know about you. I don't know how you feel. Nick Toon needs to start making some plays in New Orleans. He's starting to really, really get under my skin. So he drops the football. You get nothing out of that possession, and he was wide open. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Catch the football, Nick. Long Chris Ivory run from the shadow of his own end zone leads to a field goal at 7-6 New Orleans. Chris Ivory again really being a thorn in the Saints side in this game. Again, he wants to show the Saints, hey, you messed up. I'm going to show you that I could have been a star back for you like I'm going to do in this game for the Jets. So Saints now only lead by 1 point in this game, 7-6. Big game to Robert Meacham sets up the second Jimmy the man Graham touchdown of the game. It's 14-6 New Orleans. So this is starting to look like a typical New Orleans Saints game. You slow the other team down. You force them to kick field goals. You score touchdowns while they're kicking field goals. Jimmy Graham is getting busy. Then you sprinkle in a little bit of Kenny Stills and other guys get involved, and you win the football game. That's what this looks like. You sprinkle in some Colston, except you don't have Colston at your disposal in this game. So then you sprinkle in some Sproles, except he got a concussion early in this game, so you don't have him at your disposal. So now you're starting to run out of offensive weapons, guys that Drew Brees trust. Now you got to rely on guys like Neptune. And when you got to rely on only on Neptune, that's when you get into trouble. Because you're used to having a plethora of guys to get the football to. You start having to rely on guys you don't trust. All of a sudden, now it becomes harder for Drew Brees to get the football out of his hands. He has to hold it a second longer, and against this Jets defense, that's not a good idea. So, 14-6 after the Jimmy Graham touchdown grab. The second for Jimmy, the man, Graham. Great Jets drive, polished off with an Ivory 4-yard touchdown run. It's 14-13, so the Jets have a balanced driving. And if you're the Saints, this was the part of their game plan, the part of this game that was the most frustrating, is that the person that you want to beat you in this game, you didn't make them beat you. Make Geno Smith. Geno. Oh, Geno. Oh, no. That's who you want. You want the, no, Gino. Not the Gino. Oh, you don't want the Gino. That's the guy that gets to babysit the football, gets to play caretaker, gets to manage the football game. How many passing attempts did he have in this game? What, 12, 13, 14? 8 of 12, 8 of 13, 8 of 14? Don't let Geno Smith get away with pedestrian numbers like that. But when you let Chris Ivory and Bilal Powell and they ran the Wildcat and you let Geno Smith run the ball as well, when you let Joshua Cribbs and the rest of the gang run the football all over you, you take the football out of Geno Smith's hands and you allow them to hand it off to somebody else and let them tote the rock. And in this game, your primary goal should have been stop the run, make Geno Smith beat us, we'll win the game. He'll turn it over twice. Instead, you let him play game manager. That's what he did. They ran the football. They ended up making this a tough game on you. So 14-13. Jets polish off a great drive with an Ivory touchdown. And this was mostly the run here. More running, more Wildcat, more stuff that you can't stop. Beef up like you've been doing all year. Stop the run, make Geno Smith beat you. So now it's 14-13. So Jets pull within one. Once again, it was 7-6. You take the lead or you extend your lead to 14-6. Here they come back to score a touchdown, cut it back to a 1-point game, 14-13 right before the half. More Nicktoon. More Nicktoon nonsense is what I call it. More Nicktoon nonsense. This time, ricocheting the ball into the air, which is picked off by Antonio Cromartie. Jets parlay that into a Geno Smith rushing touchdown. It's now 20-14. Jets take their first lead of the game. So, or excuse me, their second lead. They led 3-0 early on in the football game. But now you're in a danger zone. Here's a Jets team that's looking for confidence. They're looking for a reason to get the crowd involved. They're looking for a reason to feel like they should win this game. Here you are, turning the football over, giving them confidence, giving them a reason to believe that they can beat you. 20-14, 2 touchdowns for the Jets in the final 3 minutes of the first half. That's a recipe for disaster on the road if you are the Saints. If you're any team in the National Football League, you can't turn it over, you can't give up touchdowns, and you can't give up 2 of them in the final 3 minutes of the first half on the road. You're asking for trouble. Don't go looking for trouble. That's called LFT. Don't go looking for trouble. First possession of the second half for the Jets nets them a field goal. So now those 2 touchdowns you gave up at the end of the first half, they loom large because they come out in the second half, they get the ball first, they go right down the field, get a field goal, and now they're up 2 possessions with a 9-point lead at 23-14. Now you're in trouble. Now you're in the danger zone. You overdid it home. You shouldn't be alone. Now you did it to yourself. Now you got to find a way to dig yourself up out of this hole. Let's see what the Saints can do. After being picked off by Antonio Allen, which was negated by a holding penalty. So you got lucky there. Then almost being picked off, Muhammad Wilkerson almost makes another acrobatic pick like he did a week ago. Then you're sacked on 2 consecutive plays. Saints still get a 55-yard field goal from Garrett Hartley to make it 23-17. So after all of those miscues, you still find a way to get points. I don't know how, but you did. I guess Garrett Hartley and that huge leg of his bailed you out with a 55-yarder. So now you've cut it back to a 1-score game at 23-17. Doesn't last long, however, though. Nick Foles and the Jets respond with a field goal, 26-17. So Nick Folk goes out, puts another field goal back on the board, extends the lead back out to 9, 2-possession game. So now the Saints have some work to do once again. Getting deep into the ball game, we're in the fourth quarter, critical stages. You got to make plays at this point. If you're the Jets, you're down 9, 2 scores, got to have it. Jed Collins drops a wide open play action fake. The Jets bite down on it. Jed Collins is wide open in the flats. Doesn't get more open than that in this league. Drops the football. So it's 4th and 1. You need it. You need to pick this up. And this is where I have a problem with the Saints. You're getting cute now. You're getting too cute now. I talk about Pierre Thomas all the time and how he's underrated in this league. He's such a tough runner in between the tackles. Why do you need to be cute here? Line up, put Jet Collins in front, and turn around and hand the ball to Pierre Thomas. Or hand the ball to Mark Ingram. You pick. I don't care. Pick a back. Both of them are physical. Turn around, hand the football off, and pick up a yard. No, that's not what the Saints want to do. They're too good for that. They want to be cute. So they decide on 4th and 1 to do a reverse to not their first, not their second, their third string tight end. Now, granted, Josh Hill is an extremely athletic tight end. I don't care. When is it ever a good idea to run a reverse with a tight end? Not named Jimmy Graham. Not named somebody explosive like Vernon Davis. When is it ever a good idea to run a reverse on 4th and 1 with a third string tight end? Anyway, you didn't deserve points on that possession because you got away with a bogus personal foul penalty. The Jets had a secondary member, a corner safety, come in, hit Drew Brees low, and they threw the flag. I thought he was high enough on that play. I didn't think that needed to be a penalty. Your drive would have been over. Subsequently, you get the flag. It extends the drive. So the football guys evened it out anyway. So great play by Quentin Coples on that reverse, by the way, to stay at home, not over pursue, and tackle Josh Hill for a huge loss on the play. So Jets turn the football over on downs, but they get the football back. Hartley adds a 43-yard field goal to cut the Jets' lead to one score at 26-20. And then Neptune finally catches the football in double coverage. The toughest catch of the day he decides to make. How about that? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. Holding on the play, brings it back, puts the the Saints in a long yardage situation deep in their own territory. They can't convert. They turn it over on downs. Jets hold on, win the football game, 26-20. Huge win for the Jets. I just don't know what to make of this Jets football team because 1 week they're losing 49-9. The next week they're beating the New Orleans Saints. 1 week they can't score 16 points against the Steelers in a home loss that is terrible. The next week they're beating the New England Patriots at home. I don't know who these guys are. But I do know this. They play defense, and when you play defense the way they do, you get them at home, you're in for a dogfight because they play defense well enough to beat anybody in this league if Geno Smith isn't turning over the football. And oh, by the way, the Saints couldn't stop the run, so Geno Smith didn't have to throw the football, so he didn't have opportunities to turn it over. So you made this game easy on them, New Orleans. So that's what was so frustrating for me. Stop the run, make Geno Smith beat you. It's an easy game plan. And you couldn't go out and execute it. And so you lose the football game 26-20, drop to 6-2. And again, there's a knock at the door, New Orleans. There's a knock at the door. If you check outside and you look through the peephole, it's the Carolina Panthers. If I were you, I wouldn't open that door. There's a bully behind that door that wants what you have. They want the NFC South division lead. If I were you, I wouldn't open that door. Because if you open that door, I don't know if you get to keep what's yours right now, which is the lead in the division. So if I were you, I start playing some better football. You've lost 2 out of your last 3 matchups. I start playing some better football so that when you take on this Carolina Panthers team later on in the season, because you got them twice, and I want to say in a span of 2 or 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks late in the season, that you've got a little bit of cushion just in case they decide they want to trip. And you slip, you'll still have a little bit of house money to play with. But don't open that door. There's a bully behind that door. And right now, in the condition that you're in, I don't know if you're in any kind of position to open that door and fend off those Panthers. So another tough loss for the Saints on the road in a game that you could easily have won if you would have went out and executed a game plan which simply entailed stopping the run and making Geno Smith beat you. Instead, you don't, And Drew Brees was harassed in this game. This offensive line has to protect better. And again, a lot of this goes hand in hand with some of the injuries in this game. You take away Darren Sproles, you take away Colston, and it's tougher because Drew Brees gets the ball out of his hands quickly if Colston is winning a one-on-one matchup on a slant over the middle of the field. He can get out of his hands quicker. If you've got Sproles coming out of the backfield on a simple out route or a stick route or a simple flat route, he gets it out of his hands quickly and allows Sproles to work. So those things go hand in hand. When he has to hold on to the ball a little bit longer, this Jets defensive line, I've talked about this on numerous occasions. These guys are among the best in the league. Wilkerson and company are a handful to deal with. Sheldon Richardson, all of those guys, Copels, they're a handful. And if you let them pin their ears back and come after your quarterback, you're in for a long day. And that's what Drew Brees was in this game, in for a long day. They were after him. They were harassing him. They were hitting him. And the end result, 26-20 win for the Jets. They go to 5-4 in the season. Saints drop to 6-2 again. You're fine. But now, in your rearview mirror are the Carolina Panthers. Again, they're at the door. Don't answer the door. Treat them like they're Jehovah's Witness or something. Don't answer the door. And so, that's going to do it for this edition of In the Lab Room. I am your man, Louie T. I thank you for joining me. And if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. See you next time as I continue to break down week number 9 in the National Football League. I've got plenty more games to go, so I will see you here shortly. Don't go anywhere.